Hi guys, it's Mara here from Soar. For those of you who don't know, Soar run early intervention preventative workshops with teenagers in secondary schools all over Ireland. Now what that really means is we like to give teenagers a space where they feel seen and heard and can talk about what's really going on for themselves. Now, unfortunately, due to the situation at the moment and schools being closed, we're unable to run those face-to-face workshops. However, over the last couple of weeks, our team has been working endlessly to be able to bring those workshops online. So, without further ado,
we have Jessica, give us a wave, Jess, Taylor, and Tara. So, yeah, I'd love to see what are your current realities at the moment. Maybe I'll start with you, Taylor.
Yeah, well, my current reality is just I'm at home here in Ballymun with my two sisters and my ma and my little dog, and I go to school in School Katrina on Mulby Road.
I'm at home in Lusk with my mum, dad, and my two sisters, and then, like Taylor, I have two dogs, and I go to Lusk Community College.
I'm at home with my two brothers, one older, one younger, my mum and dad, and my lovely little dog Ted. I'm also in 6th year, I'm 18 and I go to school in town.
What's it been like for the last few weeks?
So it's like suddenly all 5 of us are back in the house together all the time. So like it's a lot, but we're managing. I think every family definitely has their ups and downs, and this time is no exception.
In terms of friendships, how has this impacted your friendships in the last few weeks?
I feel like it obviously depends on the person and how close they are with their friend. But for me, I've kept close contact with a lot of people, and even people who I don't normally talk to have asked me like how I've been. So it's been nice to like have kind of create a bond over this whole like pandemic.
Likewise as well, if the shop is very close to me and my friends, so if my friends are walking to the shop, we'll stop by and shout up to the window, and then we'll shout down and he'll say, do you want that? And then we'll have a 10-minute chat, and then he'll go to the shop, pick up what I want, and then drop it back then. So that's the only bit of contact that we can get.
Well, I'm actually fortunate enough to be in an iPad school, so all of my mates in school have iPads and we all have Zoom because we needed it for like classes. So we all do little kind of like Zoom parties where we'll like pick a day, pick an evening, and like a lot of us gather and like go on Zoom together, which is nice, but like of course it's completely not the same. I think it's like weird for us, especially at this age.
I suppose like when you're coming into the end of 6th year, you're hoping to have a big celebration at the end. Has that changed in any way for any of you?
Yeah, it definitely has, because today we're sitting here uncertain of when or what's going to happen with it. Like, for all I know, we're never going to have a class together for the next 2 months, and then we're finished school. So we'll be studying at home, and then we show up for the tests, and then that's our school year done. If we had 2 months left in school, we'd be able to spend the last 2 months building bonds, and anything that was wrong from 4th to 5th year, you could fix it before you leave, but we don't get that chance, so we're just uncertain, and that's the worst.
I'd be kind of like with Taylor on that I feel like from the time you're in 1st year, you're thinking about the 6th years and looking at the 6th years, and like I remember back in 1st year, we all thought like the 6th years were like fully grown women, like we thought they were like full adults, and you're like looking at that and building up to that all through the 6 years, and then we arrive and it's kind of like cut off, and like I'm leaving like the safe place that I've been in for the past 6 years.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is there anyone that maybe you're missing at the moment?
Yeah, I have my nanny. She only lives like a 5-minute drive away, but because she's 90, so the only time I got to see her was last week. We drove up to where she lives and just stayed in the car and shouted out the window, and she just stood at the door waving, and that was the only, like, I haven't actually been in contact, like close contact, in I'd say nearly 2 months now, I'd say.
What tell me, Taylor, what kind of her name's Rita, is it?
Rita, yeah.
Yeah. What's Rita like?
Rita is crazy. Even though she's 90, she acts as if she's only 50. Because when we have like family events or parties, she's always up dancing. She's always having a laugh, joking, smiling, laughing. And she's my inspiration, definitely.
Amazing.
I want to be like her when I'm her age, 100%.
Nice one. But like, I'd love to know what are the main challenges or struggles for you guys personally that you've encountered over the last few weeks?
I think going to school was like a getaway because I'm a huge overthinker and an internal thinker. I always think about the worst and all that. So I think going to school and going out with my friends, it was an escape. But it's really hard to have that escape, so I've kind of been learning to cope with it by myself, which is extremely difficult. But you know, I'm getting there, one step at a time, like one small step.
Yeah.
My biggest struggle, I'd say, is motivation and getting out of the routine that you naturally just have.
Is there anything you're learning about yourselves as people in the last few weeks?
Just kind of like sitting and like existing and just letting yourself be. I've found nice, and I think I'd forgotten how to do that, and I'd forgotten that it's important. I'd forgotten that it works for me, but like I'm kind of like coming back to that a bit.
I've learned that in this experience that I'm a lot more stressful than I thought I was, because I'm stressing out over everything. If I drop the remote and batteries fall out, that'd put me in a bad mood for about an hour.
Is there anything that you've found can like relieve that stress for you?
Yeah, before quarantine, like I said, you'd go out, bit of fresh air, bit of movement, and then you can relax then afterwards. But now I would only recommend go to a room just where it's just you.
What do you think like young people need right now?
Support, I feel like, is a really big thing. Like, even if you're a small child to 18 years old or even 25, whatever it is, I think any child needs a lot of support and a lot of patience, because they don't have places to get rid of their energy or anger or stress or whatever like that.
I would say, I guess this sounds super formal, but it's kind of what like Jessica is saying, but like clarification from the Department of Education. Like, that's the system that they've created for us, but then suddenly like nothing is clear anymore.
The one thing I'd really say is for everyone, not just kids, but just have patience and try to look into the future.
Like, has it taught you anything about life?
Appreciate the small things. Like, appreciate what you had before. I feel like before this whole thing, everybody was, like, as you said, like a steam train. Everybody was rushing and they had no time for certain things. So I think during this couple weeks or couple months, I think appreciation for everything is definitely growing.
I now appreciate family more, because before this happened, like, my mad being work, I'd be in school, she'd be watching telly then after work till about 9-10 o'clock at night, and then when I come home from being out with my friends, she'll be in bed, and then we wake up then the next morning, and then that'll be the first time we see each other since the morning before. So now that we're sitting at home watching telly for hours or watching a series, like we went through 3 seasons of a series in like 4 days together, just sitting there watching it for hours and hours. So a lot more time with each other is appreciated.
I think like make a real effort to like ask people if they're okay, and like invest in friendship and invest in people, and like always try to kind of like take the compassionate approach, because I think one of the things that like people say a lot is the whole like, oh, like always be kind, you never know what someone's going through. Like right now it's like always be kind, because we know that everyone's going through this like really like different thing in addition to whatever they're normally going through. So I guess like taking that on and recognizing that like the most important thing is people.
But what about like on social media, how would you reach out to one of your friends and check in on them and ask how they're doing?
I've been like shamelessly, if someone pops into my head, I just straight up send them a text and say, how you doing?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes people are like, oh, like, is it okay for me to text that person? Da, 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 da. And like, I think now especially people are realizing like people are just people. Like I've just been kind of like going for it and just checking in with people.
It's weird. It's like people have been more sociable, even though they're stuck at home.
Yeah, and because I was just thinking, Taylor, yourself and Jessica, from what I know, you have something in common, and that's that your sister works in an old folks home. Am I right?
Yeah, my sister works in an old folks home in Charlestown, and it's very tough. Like, I admire what she does. I wouldn't be able to do what she does. Like, she goes to work at 8 in the morning, or 8 at night, sorry, gets dressed in, like, looks like an astronaut with them masks and the bodysuits. And
You said you admire her. What do you admire about her?
I admire about her that, like, it doesn't faze her one bit of what she does, you know? She goes in and she does a job, like, she's looking after people that are incapable of doing stuff by themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not something that she has to do. You know, that's something she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I admire her for that.
Do you have a bit of that quality in yourself, do you think?
Some people like to say, I wouldn't know, but some people did say that.
Yeah. You say like the healthcare workers are like our, you know, like our army, like on the front line.
Yeah, my dad works in Beaumont Hospital, so he works there Monday, Fridays, and then one day a weekend. So it's like he has a work life and he has a home life and he has them separated, but sometimes he'll like have a little laugh, try and make me and my sisters somewhat happy that like he's after coming with it from a place who has like loads of cases, and like trying to just make us be like, we're okay, you're gonna be okay, this is gonna go over, it'll be fine, kind of. If this never happened, I'd never see that side of him.
That's great. Sounds like a legend to him.
Yeah.
So broadly speaking, like life going ahead, do you think that this is going to change society in any way? Do you know?
Absolutely. Like, I kind of think that there's been like a real reckoning with the idea of us all as a collective, because it is like public health. So I kind of think that now there's kind of more like investment in like caring about a public and caring about communities, and I hope that means that there'll be like a continued coming together.
Unfortunately, I actually genuinely don't think it's going to change society. I think maybe at the start, for the first few weeks, we're back to normal, yeah. But I just think it's just going to go back to the way it was. After near future, I think it'll change society. But long term, maybe in a year or two, I think not that it'll be forgotten about, but it won't be spoken about. And I think everyone's just going to get on with their lives then, I think.
Say the strength of the pack is in the wolf, and the strength in the wolf is in the pack. For some people it will change society. For some people, you know, fair enough saying it won't, but what I do think is that we can change ourselves and how we interact with society. So Taylor, is there anything that you would like to, if you could take hold of one thing when you're walking out the door of the pandemic, what would you like to hold on to tightly for yourself?
All family members. As long as all of them are okay, then from my side, I'm happy, you know.
Cool, man. What's this last hour been like for you guys to get a chance to talk about your experiences?
I think it's actually been really good, because like usually you just talk to your friends, but the fact that I've talked to Taylor and Tara and even you, like it's just kind of it's given like a weight off my shoulders. It's like, wow, there's other people that have the same opinion as me, but they also have a complete different opinion.
And I think, like Jessica said, because we don't really know each other, like we speak to everyone around our area about, and we kind of all have similar situations, where it's kind of good to hear people from Lusk, etc., where you'd never be daily. So to hear their side of it from where they're from, and it's interesting to see around like Dublin and Ireland. the difference.
Tara, I'll change it up slightly for you. If you were to say one thing to the youth of Ireland right now, what would you say to them?
I would say, like, keep it up, try your best, and try your best, but then also know your limits. Ask for help when you need it, because like help is out there, and like you're certainly not the only one who needs an extra boost. So yeah.
So we have just heard from 3 teenagers as to what their current reality looks like, and now we want to hear from you. Our challenge to you is to be as brave as these 3 young people and tell us about your experience. Simply video a 30-second clip of you answering the question, what does my current reality look like? Then post it to your Instagram story, tag Soar and hashtag grounded for greatness, or send it in to socials@soar.ie.